What's up, dude?
Yo,
Big
what's
small
up?
cast.
What's up,
Big
Let's
gangsters?
fucking
cast,
go.
Small
bro.
big cast.
Big small fucking bitch cast. We got at
What's up,
least
bitches?
4 motherfuckers this time around.
Fellow motherfuckers in the building. Y'all know
All
how it
new
is.
people. All new people who haven't been on the podcast. We got Boss. We got
Yes,
Baz,
sir.
the Baz Killer. We got Carnivorous Veer, Carnveer over here, the God, and then we got Sleepy Biden. Not good. Richard.
Sleepy
boy.
Biden? What is like Joe Biden but fucking sleepy?
Yeah, that's the thing that people
What?
call him. I have nothing against Joe Biden or anything, but I wanted to bring something in because your fucking ass is falling asleep. So
That
Fellow
worked.
motherfuckers know
Of course
who
I'm
it
I
falling
is.
know. Relax, bro. Relax.
fucking sleepy
Chill.
Biden.
I'm just kidding. You don't gotta get so
Fuck
bad.
you, Donald Trump looking ass.
Hey, man, keep politics out of it, bro.
You brought him up, sleepy Biden bitch.
Calm your fucking asses down, boy.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding. So, you were talking before Carnivore. I was pretty interested, actually, genuinely pretty interested about how it's going with this new relationship you're going into right now, or that you're into right now. But you're getting involved in. How's that going, man? What's going
Man,
on with that?
you realize a bunch of shit.
What kind of
You
stuff are
got
you realizing?
when you're a single man, you're only managing yourself. But when you're raised like me to how do we get
To be what?
when you're raised to be when you've taught to become the man in the relationship and not just to manage yourself but help manage the other person in the relationship too, vice versa.
Okay.
That's
Is
when
that
that's when you start to think. That's when you restart to think the way you are. It's kind of weird sometimes. You're just
yeah.
like you're going out to a bar, you see a bunch of chicks, like, whoa, can't do that.
Yeah, it's
I'm
kind of
faithful.
like how when you get in relationships with people, I'm sure all of us can probably attest to this in some ways. It's like when you get into a relationship with somebody, you kind of start to see aspects of yourself that you never really saw before because there's like some level of like communication you got to maintain, and there's you got to work together in some ways, and then sometimes just the way people act towards you or act around you kind of just brings up these things that come out of you, and you're like, hey, I never really knew I was kind of like that, you know
Mm-hmm. You know?
or it can show your flaws and your mistakes like that. Is that the kind of stuff that you're seeing right now? Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
developing and not just as yourself, but developing with another person too. Watching them develop, they seeing you develop. Some things that you do that you don't notice that you do to on a day-to-day basis until they bring it up and you're like, damn, shit, I didn't realize that about myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's a growing experience. Very growing. Very
Yeah,
thankful for it.
I guess it kind of makes sense how the general consensus behind like most human beings is like the end all be all is just finding somebody and creating a family and having children, and like kind of having this collaboration between these two different people and
Mm.
working together. It's like the common end goal that most human beings desire. Most human beings desire things like that, and I think it kind of
Mm-hmm.
you know
To exist, to grow and exist as a species,
we have to work together.
you gotta work together. Relationship teaches you how to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
What about y'all? What are your thoughts on this, boy?
You still awake, Richard?
Richard.
Yeah, man. No, I'm here.
Let's ask Richard. Since Richard is tired, it's late in the night. What do you think about you know how being in a relationships has made you grow or changed you. It could be positive or negative, whatever you want it to be. How's that affected you? What do you think about that?
Jeez.
Yeah, probably a lot.
Every relationship I've been in personal experience, has been worth the struggle. The lesson has been worth the struggle, more
Yeah.
so than others. Most recently with oh shit. Shit. It got too personal.
Edit that out. Edit that out.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I'm definitely gonna edit out that name in post. Don't worry, I'll edit out that name.
Yeah,
I'll make a little note actually. Oh god, I don't know how long we've been recording. Okay, that's okay. Edit out Richard name. All right, I will do that. Nobody will
yeah, that's
know.
my bad. Anyways, so
It's all good.
most
It's all
recently with that girl I've been seeing.
sure. Oh shit. Sorry.
all the lessons learned from the first round
Yeah.
are like some of the biggest things we have to offer in the second round. All the lessons we learned from each other.
You finding that you guys learned a lot from the last time and it's a little bit better now?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's what we have to offer now in the forefront.
Yeah.
You know, all the things we wish
Oh yeah.
we knew then, we have now. You know, like that saying, if I knew then
With
what I
time
know
comes
now,
wisdom.
it would be different.
Mm,
And hopefully
Also-
this time is different.
yeah, for sure. Everybody feel free to chime in whenever you want. Don't feel like it's like, we're, going one by one. I understand it's
Yeah.
late and it's all good. No biggie. No worries about anything. It's just, feel free to say whatever you want at any moment. But
Mhm.
Feel free to do whatever the fuck you want.
yeah, or interrupt me because
Yeah, shut the fuck up, Eden.
very
You're
first
gonna be
episode
talking lots.
in the very first episode of this podcast, I specifically said to Joseph, I'm like, tell me to shut up when I should shut up because I'm gonna have to learn myself too to give everybody their opportunities to speak because if it's just me speaking, it's fucking, it's just your boy preaching to the choir. Just your boy fucking releasing his
Fucking
voice.
yo to the
Your boy,
choir.
the preacher.
Just being a preacher. And
The
I don't
preacher,
want it
preacher.
to be. I mean, the second episode is me just talking about myself, and episodes like that can be for that. But I want it to be more so about everybody feeling like they have the freedom and encouraging discussions and stuff like that. But
And now I definitely can't tell her the podcast name.
yeah,
It feels good to be a
Yeah.
part of a podcast.
I mean, you didn't even say anything bad, and no one's gonna know
Oh,
her
no,
name.
no.
All you said
I
is
would
that
never say anything bad.
that. I mean, even if you did say something bad, I mean, it's fair to you, to what it is you want to say.
Yeah.
And if you felt a certain way, that's true to you. And I mean, it's
My
it's not
feelings are valid.
yeah, of course. And things happen on both sides, We both
Yeah.
do fucked up
Mhm.
shit. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes this time in regards to maybe not rediscovering each other, more like discovering each other.
Discovering
The
each
new
other.
people. What a year and a half has changed.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys had a bit of a time gap as well, where you guys broke up and
Yeah.
got back together. I mean,
Yeah,
it's I guess that experience is unique to you because I mean, in my eyes, in the beginning, it was like, I don't agree with that as much because I mean, obviously, of people's past mistakes doesn't necessarily have to be forgiven, but you know, uh, it's good to give second chances as long as you're thinking about
I'm
it.
a firm believer on that your mistakes don't define you.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it doesn't, but yeah,
You
it
can
doesn't mean
correct
that.
your mistakes, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you
Mistakes
can
come
be a better person. You
mistakes
know.
come from somewhere. Comes from deep within. The
Mhm.
ability to control your urges, the ability to overcome your demon.
Fuck me. That reminds me of a great quote from that book I just read. Let me fucking run over to my book.
Yeah, sure. You can look for it and find it.
Yeah. Oh shit. It's right here. It was in my bed with me. All fucking naked and shit.
You're
So of
naked.
course, mistakes don't
No,
define
I'm just
who
kidding.
you
I'm just
are.
kidding.
Because of course, I've made a fuckload of mistakes in life,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
I
they
made the
make you who you
big
are.
fucking mistake of just putting bookmarks in the book I read without putting the lines in.
What book you reading?
I read a book called The Last Lecture by Randy Pausch.
I just got a book.
What kind of
It's
book?
called by Win Friends and Influence. How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh, I've heard that book. I've heard about that book actually.
Yeah, I'm about to start it.
Someone peeing?
It's about like how to be
I thought
successful
someone was peeing.
in a social environment.
You heard water.
The psychology behind that.
I was like, "Fuck, guys, come on now."
Come on now.
I was like,
Dude, I'm
"What?"
in bed, okay? There ain't no way I'm pissing.
I know that. I don't know what kind of shit you into.
Oh, it was
What is it?
fuck me. So I can't find it exactly, but I'll kind of paraphrase it. It was like experience is what you get when you don't get what you want.
Oh yeah, yeah, I see that.
So that was kind of when I say in my experience is by saying things didn't go the way I wanted, but I learned from it.
But you learn
Mhm.
from it exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's easy sometimes to even like grow resentful and to grow hateful and to kind of close yourself off to the outside world in some ways when you get hurt in such a way because like to be in relation in a romantic relationship and open yourself up to somebody uh I mean probably from the perspective of men specifically, men on average just open up a lot slower and are a lot more vulnerable when it comes to just like some I mean I don't know how to describe it in the best way, but men are slow to open up and they're really sensitive when it comes to like being vulnerable in a situation because it can be deemed in a negative way, especially when certain men are vulnerable. And then when that vulnerability gets taken advantage of or your trust gets taken advantage of, it really, really hurts and can sometimes like just strike you down to the core and just, you can grow resentful and you can grow to be like, bitches ain't shit type attitude. And sometimes that can be a
Men
phase.
fight. Men fight with hands. Women
Yeah.
fight with words.
Yeah, that's probably something that's psychological. Psychological
It's
tension.
it's primal,
It is primal.
not just like
Yeah, it makes sense.
But it doesn't always have to be like that.
It doesn't. And it isn't always like that, but
evolution, baby.
sometimes it can end up like that and it really ends up damaging people. And then they kind of go and take that out on the next person they meet. And it's a real shame when stuff like that happens. But yeah, it's hard. You know, maybe I'll save it for a little bit later, but there's something interesting about that I'm kind of thinking about with myself when it comes to relationships and things like that,
Mhm.
to where it's like through multiple podcast, maybe more podcasts of just talking about it, maybe it'd make more sense. Or maybe just through me thinking about it and writing it down a little bit more, I could maybe come to a little bit more of an understanding. But um, for the longest time, for as long as I can remember, there's like it's like there's a part of me that seems really, really just numb and like disinterested in the idea of like building connections with people. It's very, very strange. And it's a type of feeling that I've never really been able to really figure out its origin and stuff. I went for a little bit of like therapy about it and stuff like that, and I've talked about it with some people, but it's kind of like this sense of just total disinterest sometimes. It's like it's a bit difficult and confusing to think about, but it's almost as if like people describe how they feel towards people, and they describe these positive feelings. Like whenever I'm with this person, it brings so much. Like I feel this feeling of content, and I feel so good, and I feel like this love, and it's just I love this person so much. And I talk and I hear people be on the internet and just in general, and like in books, and everybody who talks about when they went into a relationship and they're like they feel like they love this person. Like I sometimes would hear Richard talking about some of the relationships he's been in, and he's like, he sounds, I don't know if the right word's obsessed, but I can't think of a better word right now. But it's more so that he's like so infatuated with this person, and I hear that, and it's like, oh man, I want that. That sounds good. I wish I could have the same, but then it's like I don't know how do you even get to that point, because there's never really been a moment in my life to where I feel like even with not just romantic relationships, but just like people in general. Sometimes I feel like so disconnected from people. I feel like I'm a different type of human being. Not that that's a good thing, but there's these moments where it's like I want to build connection, but it's like it feels superficial sometimes when I try to do it. Like, there's just
Mm.
some people out there who can build connections with people. They can go to work and have fun with the coworkers and go out with the coworkers. But then when I think about stuff like that, I just feel so disinterested, and it's strange. It's like I feel detached from like connections of other people, and you know, that's something I got
Mm.
to figure out. But that's something kind of unique to me. Um,
Would that be something that might be rooted to your upbringing or a certain experience that you've gone through in life?
yeah, I've always kind of thought about things like that because our upbringings define us in such a huge way and how we
Mhm.
feel about things and interact about things. I've had that theory for a while. I went about in the previous podcast a little bit. I kind of talked about a little bit about feeling lost, like moments in life where you feel kind of lost. Um, it's strange. It's almost as if, like, to really describe the feeling, it's almost as if I'm just going about my day to day, and I feel like a lot of my emotions just aren't even a part of the day to day. It's almost as if I'm just going about things like robotically. Um,
That's how you feel?
yeah, you know,
Mhm.
I'm starting to come into more and more of a realization because
Mhm.
recently, I won't go too deep into it. I could save it for a different time, or maybe a solo podcast I do myself or something like that. But whenever I'll talk about that, that's a big thing. But right now, I'm try and be more sociable. I'm trying
Mhm.
to overcome my negative perceptions on things. Like I talked about in the first podcast, how I'm trying to like do this little dopamine detox, and how I'm trying to avoid pornography and all these things. And I'm trying to, be more sociable with people.
Mhm.
But, I'll try to be sociable with people. And sometimes it's just hard because
It's
it's
very
like
hard, yeah.
there's a part of me that just is like, I don't care. But it's like I want to care, and I feel bad for not caring. And it's this confusing thing to where it's like I want to stop feeling
But why
alone.
is it why is it that because I've had that experience for a while as well,
Yeah.
where you and I actually had a really long talk with it about this, Eden, is that when we were, I called you once and I was like, I feel really emotionally unavailable towards
Yeah.
people. Where it's just like, I go about my day, it seems robotic. You go to work, you go to work, you talk to people, you smile, you say hello, you go
Yeah. I
home,
remember.
you wake up, you do the same. And during especially these COVID times, you can't really hang out with your people, you can't hang out with family, you can't do anything because
Yeah.
you you literally go out the door and you see nobody. There's nobody on transit. You go on the train, there's nobody there. You hop off and you just see nobody. You go to work and all you see are just like customers who are not even interested in talking to you or even interested in getting near you at all, just because of how panicked they are about the situations. And that, as much as it's small things like that, it takes a toll on you.
Yeah.
You can't really do anything that you love, like there's so many things I want to do, but everything's closed. What am I gonna do? Right?
Yeah, for sure.
So that robotic kind of routine definitely is something that you would call mundane. um
Oh yeah.
and with that also comes with your ability to connect with people. I mean, humans, we're social beings, right?
Yeah.
And for you not to have that is something that will some it's something that will make you feel like you're dead, feel like you're dead inside.
Mm.
um and I think like relationships is something that just doesn't come like that. It's something that you build, right? um and I can understand what you're saying about when you say that you don't really care, but at the same time you want to. But I'm curious what makes you think, or what makes you have that initial response to just I just really don't give a shit kind of feeling.
It's
I
like
wonder I wonder why that is.
yeah, no, it's interesting. I try to think about that to myself sometimes, and you know, recently I've been trying, yeah, like I said, I've been trying to be more sociable. I've been trying to, be a little bit more present in social engagements with people. I live with my grandmother, and I try to talk to her. Right, these past couple of
Hmm.
weeks I've been trying to talk to her way more, and that seems to be going well. And whenever I go to work, I try to, be a little bit more engaging with people at work. um, Maybe, and a little bit maybe with random people I go about my day to day. I'm a little bit more like a small levels more sociable than them.
Hmm.
um, but there's moments where I am doing these things, and it's kind of like, how would I describe it? It's like I'll say to myself, I should probably do something and say something, as if I'm like trying. It's like almost as if I view my social skills as if I'm just trying to go to the gym and train, not like something
Hmm.
that I get from it. You know, it's like
Hmm.
it's like I see it as if like it's a tool that I can use that would better me, and it's like the emotion is so far away from it. Uh, I think the mundaneness of COVID-19 might be a little bit more. It definitely probably has something to do with it. I could see that having
Hmm.
some effect.
Yeah.
Um, but strangely enough, the time I spend isolated and alone, uh, feel like strangely enough feels very very good. Um, Recently, because I've kind of adopted these habits. I'm fairly efficient with like what I'm doing in terms of my school and my work and my like self improvement goals I have, and I'm doing all these things, like I'm trying to read more, and I feel good when I'm alone. But there's a lot of moments where I feel almost as if I'm in a social situation, and then I just like think to myself like, gosh, I wish I was alone right now. And then
Hmm.
that's like, I know that's not good. Like I'm like,
Hmm.
I mean,
Okay,
yeah, sorry.
so, and that's all good. Yeah. And an example that I would ask is that, like today, because I'm dating somebody right now.
Yeah.
And how was it like when I left you? Because I had to go back in because Richard had to use the washroom. How was it like for you when I left you with her there? And like Richard literally said, like you guys should mingle. So I was like, yeah, that's a good
Yeah, he kind
idea
of like
in my
called me
head.
out. It's like
Mhm.
he made it sound
Yeah.
weird like that. Like, oh, there.
If anything, like that is something that shouldn't. Personally, it's like something that's like, you know, if anything, it's something that could develop you from, to challenge you from, because it's a goal of yours to want to be able to, communicate with people better, genuinely, and not
That's
to
how
act.
I viewed it. That's how I viewed that moment.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't know if I don't know who will see this podcast, but I think I was talking to Richard. Are you live, Richard? You good?
Yep. No, I'm
Okay.
I'm good. Gucci. Don't worry, don't worry.
Your life?
I just said to Richard, it was like, oh, she seems really nice. It seems like they get along well. It's just that we don't know each other very well enough,
Yeah.
and it's just like there's no like any type. There's a non-existent connection there, and it's like
Yeah,
whatever.
Richard.
That's just
Yeah.
how it is.
Well, I
Um,
could tell you this much is that when we got back inside, he said that your friend Eden seems really nice. That's what
okay,
she told me. So,
it's just because
you're
Richard
in
looks
good
so
books.
bad next to me that it fucking makes me
Yeah,
look
no,
like
Richard. Yeah, no,
Hey,
Richard's
let's not
relaxed.
speak on the way I act, okay? It's not podcast friendly.
No, we're not gonna say anything specific.
We're
But
not
I'm
gonna
just
say
mean
anything
you're just a
specific,
goofy.
man.
You're just a goofball, bro. You're just a goofy goober.
Yeah, you
That's
just
what
like
it
to
is.
joke around. You just like
You,
to joke around.
you like to poke the lion, you know. You like to be like,
Yeah.
"Yo, what's
Poke
up?"
the bear
Yo,
with the
yo.
stick.
Would you? I'm just
Yeah,
jokes, bro. Just jokes. Yo, don't get mad.
yeah.
Start
It's okay.
poking the
It's
El
okay.
Chupacabra.
If yes, I mean when you guys went in, all I said was like, Richard's. I was like, that guy Richard, and she was like, "Oh, Richard's funny," and I'm like, "Yeah, he is pretty funny. He's a nice guy. He's just goofing around." And then
Mhm.
I asked her about how she's liking it in Canada so far and
Mhm.
where she's living, and she said she's living with her uncle. And I said I haven't talked to Baz for a while, and I was worried about him, and it seems like he's doing okay, and I'm glad to see that you guys seem to be doing okay.
Mhm.
And then she was like, "Yeah, I think he's happy." I forgot what she said. I can't remember. I think she said, "Yeah, he's happy now, or happier now, or something like that. He's doing okay." Forgot what it was, but and then that was it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, her English for being in Canada for so long. I mean, I don't know if she tried to learn English. She learned English when she was in Mexico, but her English is pretty good. It's very good. It's actually really good. Uh,
It's like a year. Yeah.
yeah, no, that's really good. That's like way
Mhm.
better than I think I could ever do. Maybe it's just because she immersed herself in it for so long. That helps maybe. But
Yeah. English films.
oh, okay, yeah, I see.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah, that's how I learned.
yeah, but it's just like
Yeah.
the first time we're meeting, we don't really know anything. It's like you don't know what to
Yeah.
expect from.
And I think from what I'm hearing is that it also is that like things like that. Sometimes I feel that way too. Like I try to keep myself as genuine as I can, and oh man, I would hate myself to be like to try and be fake to people. If I'm not feeling something, I'll be like, yeah, I don't care.
That's how it would
uh,
be a lot in the beginning. It's like that.
and and really, it's like it's to a certain extent, it's almost like you gotta fake it till you make it, right? For as
Yeah,
long as you have the will to want to genuinely get to know people and to have that drive to, I really want to be able to have that connection when I'm communicating with people
yeah,
to to go along well with genuine emotion and trying not to make it superficial,
yeah,
because there's definitely people out there where you talk to them and it's just like super super enthusiastic to the point that you're like, oh, I don't know, man. It's like
yeah,
seems doesn't seem real. um
yeah.
I mean, I get that
Yeah.
that's the initial thing that would draw people in, but at some point you will get to know people, and if they stay true to the way that you met them first, then you know that they're like genuine about what they say and how they talk.
I
There's
tried
a
to stay
certain.
pretty genuine there when we were all
Mhm.
together. I tried to do my
Yeah,
best there.
yeah,
You
and
know,
that's what matters, man. That's what matters,
yeah,
and
being genuine.
that's a plus.
Yeah,
You
it's a
get
good
better
thing.
by day. Hmm.
Yeah, I feel like my social skills have actually improved a little bit. I mean, I've only been kind of really doing like, let's try and improve my
Hmm.
social skills these past 2 weeks, and it's getting a little bit easier. Just I feel a little bit more comfortable in places. Definitely, there's places where I feel less
Hmm.
comfortable. Um, but I can kind of like at the beginning I was like, oh my god, I don't even know how the hell I'm gonna do this because this is so hard to do.
Yeah.
Um, but then as time's gone on, I'm like, hey, maybe I'm kind of think I can see something going on here. I think I can actually get better at this.
Yeah.
You gotta do what makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah, for sure.
You walk through a mall. Like this is what me and my friend do here. We walk through a mall and we just do really stupid things. Like do push-ups right in the middle of a crowd. We start
Yeah.
doing jumping jacks, start screaming on top of our lungs. Not because it's like we want to make our presence known. It's more so for like personal development. The art, the subtle art of not giving a fuck and just doing
Yeah.
what you want to do, whatever. You could After that you could literally walk up to anyone and say, "Hello, how are you doing?" Would you say what the fuck ever? It's a
Mhm.
good feeling when you could do that, man. That's one thing I developed moving out here. Before I had mad social anxiety. Couldn't even
Yeah.
talk, couldn't even carry a sentence. Now, I like to think that I'm getting better.
You've definitely
I think
gotten
you are
better,
way
quite a
better.
bit.
Yeah.
Way better. When you were selling us that pitch, the example pitch you were doing, I was like, oh man, I'm sold on this.
It
Richard's like,
is, man.
nah.
It's like,
And it really comes down to tonality. It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah.
Because tonality shows the emotion that you're feeling in you. The way you go high, you fluctuate low. It's a roller coaster. That's what people are in for, the ride. You gotta make them go on the ride along with you. That's what
Yeah.
makes it interesting.
Mhm.
You can't just keep it monotone because then they get bored. They want to go up, they want to go down.
Yeah. It's good to. A lot of people recommend in terms of just various forms of anxiety. A lot of the times, people recommend exposure therapy and just exposing yourself to the situations that make you feel uncomfortable. Either
Yeah.
like some people just jump right in, and then some people, like slowly increment their way. I'm more so thinking about it like incrementally increasing because I'm just trying to be super careful because I'm just, I'm not strong enough right now. I don't have the strong enough will to do what you do right now. I don't have the
Mhm.
strength. Um, but I was concerned about putting myself in a situation that was so hard that I'd end up re-traumatizing myself to the point to where I would just shut down again. And as a matter of fact, I actually had this moment happen uh, a couple of weeks ago, and I talked about it with Joseph on the phone. And it's really strange. It's very, very strange. I'm a strange human being. I find myself strange. I feel strange thinking about myself because there's like things in this world that make me feel emotional, and then some things that don't make me feel emotional at all. Like,
What makes you feel emotional?
like if I have to describe, like, let me describe some things to you, and maybe you'll see what I'm talking about. But like when I was on when my grandfather was passing away, it was a really hard time for everybody around me, and it was hard for me. And going to the hospice to see him was hard. And I mean, I felt, quite emotional there, but I didn't cry or anything like that. I felt really like, oh my gosh, this is hard. This is a rough thing. And I didn't cry. And then there's moments, where I don't feel very much joy for anything. Like a couple of days ago, my sister randomly came to say hello at our house, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, you're here!" And I felt, not that much actual excitement for some strange reason. I'm like, "Oh, wow, okay." And then I'll put on a song that I really like, and sometimes I'll feel really good about that song, and sometimes I'll be like so fucking into the song, I feel like I'm having like some religious fucking epiphany. I'm like, "Oh my god, the universe!" It's like I'm so into this song. Um, but like, I
Can I
bring all
ask you a
these things
question?
up. Sure, what's up?
Are you constantly thinking about being excited? Constantly thinking about the way you should feel
Uh,
when stuff happens with you like that?
Usually I don't think about it that much in the moment, but like, after the day's over or maybe days after, as I think about like past days when things have happened, I'm like, huh, I see a pattern. I'm like, I'm not really, too excited about when things like this happen, but I end up becoming quite excited like this. The reason I brought that up about how I sometimes feel really strange about my emotions is that in regards to like being sociable, I'll bring this connection this way, but like, so I'm not very emotional very often, and things don't really make me emotional. And I've seen a lot of sad things, and a lot of sad things have happened in my life, and a lot of terrible, awful things have happened, and I've never cried. Or even, I mean, sometimes you feel a little bit sad, and but very rarely it'll bring me to the point of tears. And then this one moment, it's so strange to me. Um, I said how I'm trying to practice my social skills and I'm trying to improve. And I tried. I'm not going to say the specifics because I don't want to out anybody. I don't see, I got to predict the future here about this podcast because this is public, But um, I was out somewhere, and there's this person. I was outside with some people, and we were all just hanging about. And this attractive woman came up, and I've known this attractive woman for a while. Uh, and uh, she walked up and said hello and everything, and everyone's talking. And in my head, I'm like, oh, like I feel like I'm like, oh my gosh, I already feel so uncomfortable already because this super attractive person is here, and it's like, oh, okay, gosh, okay, this is hard. But then in my head, I'm like, you've been trying to practice getting better at social skills. This is your moment to expose yourself to something. Let's do it. So what I do is I do the stupidest fucking thing ever.
Hell yeah.
I just stare this bitch right in the face. Like I literally like deadpan. Like I just stare at her so hard. Like I literally like stare at her, try to look. I'm like, okay, let's maintain eye contact. Let's practice maintaining eye contact because doing that's hard. So I maintained eye contact, and I stared at her for probably like 15 seconds without blinking, and she definitely noticed that I was doing it and gave me this weird look, and I'm like, oh my god, because she gave me this weird look, and I was like, oh my god, what am I doing? I'm staring way too fucking hard. And then after I noticed that, I was like, holy fuck. I was like, oh god, that was cringe. I felt so cringe. So I'm like, I just took my phone out and started going on my phone as everyone's talking, and they start having this conversation, and she's like talking to this one guy. She's like, oh my gosh, he lost so much weight. Um, yeah, so there's just a little bit of a cut there, so I'll have to stitch that back together. But what was I saying? Anyways, what I was saying is so basically, yeah, no, we were in this moment, and so yeah, super attractive woman, and I stare at her for like 16 seconds in the face, and then she notices and gives me this weird look, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck am I doing? I'm such a dumbass. Like, what the hell am I doing? And then I was like, oh god, I feel like shit. That was so bad. I'm like, I take out my phone. I'm like, wow, let's just like, I fucked it up. I'm not even gonna bother anymore. So I just, look down at my phone, and I'm like pretending I'm listening, but I'm not like maintaining eye contact because I'm like, okay, I fucked this up. I feel weird now. I feel really like cringe. And they're talking, and one of the guys had lost a lot of weight because he's been exercising recently, and he's like, oh yeah, I lost so much weight. Uh, uh, and then she's like, yeah, what have you been doing? And he's like, oh, I've been eating. And she's like, uh, you must be pulling all that weight out your ass. And it was like this dumb thing she said, and it was not funny at all. And I was like, it's like, I wish I could pull my weight out of my ass. Don't you want to put your hand up my ass and pull the weight out? And then everybody's like, ha ha ha, but not like that was funny. More like, so like, ha ha ha. The beautiful woman said something funny, and we are gonna laugh because she's hot, type deal. And and basically everybody's laughing, and I'm just like on my phone because I'm basically checked out. I'm like, fuck, I fucked up. And then she calls me out. She's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, what? She's like, what's wrong with you? Why are you on your phone? Why are you being so shy? Like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh no, I'm just on my phone. But the feeling I had is like while I lied about it, about how uncomfortable I felt. The truth was is that I felt so uncomfortable, and she called it out,
Mm.
and because she knew that I was being fucking weird. And then at that moment, I was like, "Oh my fucking god! Like I'm a
That must
fucking
be, yeah.
idiot."
That must have felt very defeating. But also, some people, just because they have a lot of confidence, they seem to not recognize that it could harm other people as well when they say things like that. Like
Yeah,
internally, some people just, obviously, if you're already anxious about it, you're not gonna say it unless you like have a sudden blow up that you just explode. There's like, why the fuck would you say that?
yeah,
Um, there's definitely different responses that people have. Like for me, I would shut down too. Like for the most part, whenever I'm quiet, it's because I'm like, I don't really know what to say, or you know, if I don't really have a lot to
Nervous.
say, then I'm just not gonna say it.
yeah. And that's what I'm trying to get away
Uh,
from. It's like the moments where I feel like I have nothing to say. I'm
yeah,
trying to become like organic, because I mean I can
yeah,
talk to you guys, and I feel like there's moments. I mean it's probably easier because we've established so many common things that we can
yeah,
talk about all
exactly.
the time, and it's harder to do that with someone you first meet for the
Just
first
met,
time.
yeah,
But
yeah.
um, yeah, no, that happened, and for like an hour, I was just like, "What the fuck, you
Because
idiot!"
because putting somebody on blast like that, at that point, it's not even just you. At that point, it's just like, why would you put somebody on blast? Like, yo, you're being shy, bro. What's up, man? What's up? Why are you shy?
Yeah,
Keep talking. It's like, what do you
and
want me to say?
yeah, I
At
know,
that point, I don't even blame you, man. I would feel uncomfortable at that point too. Be
and
like, why you putting me on blast like that?
yeah, and the strange thing about it and how it ties into all that we how I feel weirdly emotional about things like that. Like it's strange how I feel so not emotional to things. And you know, a couple of days ago, I was talking with Joseph on the phone. Joseph just called me and he's like, "Hey, how you doing? How's going on?" And that's Joe for anyone who doesn't know. On the first podcast, he was on the first podcast, but yeah, no, I was talking to Joseph, and I told him what happened, and I just started crying on the phone. Like I didn't even feel like myself getting emotional at all. Like I literally was just talking about it, and I was like I felt so cringe. Like I'm such a dumbass for being like that. And then I just cried for some reason. Like I felt it came out of nowhere. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like I didn't even feel it
What
coming.
do you think that something
There's something
could be telling?
there's something inside me. Something inside me was hurting. And
Some undiscovered hidden values that you're not living by.
no, I don't know if it's values, but there's like definitely something going on in there that was like something came out of me right there, and I was just like, damn. Like I was literally just like, damn, damn, god, damn, 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 what the hell's going on, damn, and I'm just
I know
fucking.
exactly how you feel, dude.
I'm not
I
even like,
maybe
oh, I'm just like, oh, damn, what's going on right now, damn, just as I'm sounding now, and just tears are coming out of my eyes. I'm like, damn, what's going fucking wrong, and yeah, that was strange. That's a very, very strange thing that's going on. But yeah, that was weird. We can continue this for like 5 more minutes, and then
you
I'll just.
tried. You know what you did? You caught yourself when the hot chick showed up. You caught yourself. Well, you could have came into that same sort of mind and be quiet, but you decided to do.
I tried. I
You
tried something.
you tried something. It didn't work, but you put the effort in to try
Yeah,
something. And if you
Yeah,
keep on
you
putting that
attempted at
effort
least.
in, yeah, you attempted at least. And if you keep on attempting, the first time you
Yeah,
fuck, you suck. Second time you
yeah,
get better. The third time you get better. You keep on getting better the more you do it.
yeah,
So it doesn't matter what happened
and
that time. That was the first time you caught yourself.
and
Keep on
as you
catching.
know,
Keep
man,
on catching.
like for me as well. I mean, I think one of the people that really helped me with my social skills would be you, actually, is because I mean, you know me, I come from the Philippines. I have
yeah,
social barriers still,
yeah,
and with that, I struggled a lot with connecting with people here because sometimes I would say something and they would not understand. as much as my accent is like on point, doesn't mean that my vocabulary is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, um, it's easy to blend in, but for you to actually really know what you're saying
Yeah.
is requires a lot more vocabulary. Um, and there's a lot of times where I would talk to people, and there's literally a girl that I liked before that, and then the first thing, I'd never talked to her before because I was like super shy about her, and then the
Mhm.
first thing I went to her till, and I was like super shy about it. Like,
Mhm.
first thing I've told her was, "Why are you so intimidating?" That's literally what I said. I was, I
Oh
was like,
no way!
I was like, "Oh fuck!" And
Oh,
I,
fuck.
bro, and I looked at her. She was turning red, and I was like, "Oh my god, what the fuck?" I was like, "What the?" When I said that, I was like, "Oh my god." 2 days in, I was like, "Fuck, I feel like shit." And then
Why are you
I
so intimidating?
I could not talk to her. I told a friend of mine, like Christian, and he's like, "Bro, you're an idiot." I was like, "Fuck." And then at some point, when I finally talked to her, when I was finally talking to her, I ended up saying sorry to her that I told her that, and I was like, "Fuck,
Well,
I
it's good you
didn't
said
mean
sorry.
that."
Yeah.
I told her, like, and being honest with how you feel about in that certain situation is, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, you could literally, I mean, I told her that I was feeling uncomfortable, and I
Yeah.
told her that I was feeling. You gotta put it out there, and once you put it out there, you will feel a sense of relief that, you know, it's out there and they know how you're feeling.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
and if they don't understand that, then that's, I don't think that's on you. Um,
Yeah.
you did the right course of action to, let
I
it
had
out.
good
And
intentions. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. If you have good intentions, then there's really, you're winning already in that sense
Yeah.
within yourself. Um, and yeah, I put it out there that I was feeling really uncomfortable and shy, and I didn't mean to say it that way. Literally, like, she would not talk to me, and she would glare at me whenever she passes by,
Mm.
and that doesn't feel good,
No,
especially
yeah,
when you've
bro.
had a crush on somebody for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know why I
Why
said
did
that,
you
because
find it intimidating?
Women are
she does.
intimidating?
That's literally how I felt, because at that point in life I was just not the most social. And at that point, um, after that,
Was she attractive?
she was attractive. We ended up having a thing, but it didn't work out. And at that point, I I've challenged myself every day to try and talk to people more and socialize.
Yeah.
And at some point, like I was saying, it's like you gotta try and develop it. As much as you might feel uncomfortable in the beginning, you might feel ingenuine, you might feel anxious, but in the end, it's how you develop it. Like, you don't just find confidence in a day. That, you gotta put yourself out there. You gotta embarrass yourself a lot of the time. In certain
Yeah.
times, you just want to crush and like crumble. It's just
You
like,
gotta break
fuck.
yourself and build yourself back up over and
Um,
over and over
Yeah,
again.
and
dog.
for you to dwell in it doesn't. It's good to think about it, but to dwell in it, it's like, damn, I fucked up. Um,
Yeah.
it's not good. I guess it does a lot more harm than good for you.
Yeah,
It's good to think about it.
yeah, I hear what you're saying. I I dwelled on it for like an hour, and
Hmm.
then after that hour, I kind of was like, okay. And then even days passed, I was like, whatever, still try to do your thing.
Hmm.
But then just thinking back to that moment, I was like, oh, fuck.
You think to that moment, yeah. There's definitely times like that. Um,
You should have seen, bro. You should have seen how fucking long I was staring this bitch in the face, bro. Like, I was just like, oh my god. Just imagine staring somebody in the face for like 15 seconds. Just being like, yep. Everybody, like,
yeah.
the thing is everybody else is talking. She's not even talking. You're just staring at her and someone else is talking. It's like, yeah.
Oh, I see.
So it's not like
Just
oh,
staring.
she's talking, I'm just maintaining eye contact. It's like, no, I just stared at her because I'm like, oh, stare at the woman that scares me. And then it won't be scary no more. And then I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. Yeah, maintaining eye contact is hard. I'll tell you that.
especially when they're very, very attractive.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. I won't go too into it, but there's a book that I'm reading right now that's kind of talking about things related to that. And maybe I could save it for another time, but it's quite
Mhm.
fascinating. We can go on for like 2 more minutes or whatever. If anybody feels like talking more, we can talk more. But you know, I guess it's getting kind of late. It's late for Carnvier,
Mhm.
and Richard's fucking gonzo. So I mean,
He's conked out. Conked out.
yeah.
Just
Let's
getting the hang of this still, cause
the
yeah.
computer.
No, it's just the podcast thing. Trying to put it public, you know. I'm developing my communication skills as well.
Yeah, it's really hard. Oh, Richard's
Oh,
fucking gonzo.
that
That's
was
fucking.
Cornbeer. That was Cornbeer.
Oh, Carnvier's gonzo. Well,
Cornbeer is
well, let's
gone.
we'll